The 2025 interior offensive line class is a very interesting talking point. The tackle class isn't exactly the strongest, but there are some really good guards as well as centers in this draft class that I think could be longtime starters in the NFL. This easily could have been a top 15 video, but we are going to be going over my top 10 interior offensive linemen. Now, that includes both guards and centers in this draft class, but there are quite a few names that just missed the cut that I do want to give a shout out to. First being Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech. He's sitting at 11. Really considered moving him up to 10. I really like his tape. I also like Emory Jones from LSU. I firmly believe he is a guard at the next level. I just don't see a path to him playing a tackle. And then Jake Majors, Seth McLaughlin, and Joshua Gray from Oregon State. All those guys are right there. This is an interesting group, though. I think there's some really good players in this class, and we're going to be breaking down the top 10 in today's video. But if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Helps the channel out a ton. Lets me know you guys are enjoying the videos. Leave a comment. Let me know which position group you guys want to see next. We're getting very close to the NFL draft, and all the positional rankings should be wrapping up in the next week and a half or so. And stay tuned. We got a very special collab mock draft coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and kick this off at number 10. And it is going to be Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati. The gap between him and Caleb Rogers is very, very thin. I think both those guys are incredibly close. I tend to favor Kandra a little bit more. I liked him a lot over the summer. And he's just a very under-the-radar, good offensive lineman. He's 6'4", 323 pounds, so he's got the frame that I really like to see. He's tall, he's got a thick, dense build for the interior offensive line position, and this is a guy that has played both the left side and the right side. He started his collegiate career at Louisville, ended up at Cincinnati in 2023, and he's been a really good player for the Bearcats. What I really like about him is the power in which he plays with. He just has the ability to move people in the run game. He plays with a low center of gravity, great play strength, and I really like what he shows as a pass protector. Strong hands, good overall base. I really like that about him. I think he's got tools to be a starter in a zone rushing scheme. What I do worry about Kandra, his overall athleticism is interesting because I don't think he's a bad mover in terms of quickness and speed. I do think he's a little heavy on his feet, though. He's clunky as a mover. Don't think his hips are very fluid. Can't open up very well in the open field. His change of direction is kind of lacking, and it leads to him overextending in the run game a lot. I want to see that improve for him because he took a lot of really bad angles from time to time. And I also think he does have the tendency to disengage a little bit too early at times. I think you want to hold that block at the point of attack for as long as you can. And Kandra just tends to let go a little early. I think his blitz recognition has been inconsistent as well. This is a guy that has really developed as a pass protector at Cincinnati. He was really a run blocking specialist at Louisville. Had an 84.1 pass blocking grade this past season. Allowed just 8 pressures with 0 sacks on the year. One of my favorite guards in the draft class. I think he is a guy that has a real opportunity to come in and start at the NFL level and be a very good starting guard. So I don't see a lot of Luke Kandra love. He has been in my top 10 since the summer, and I don't really see anything on tape that justifies moving him down. So I've got Luke Kandra kicking us off at number 10. At number 9 in this class, I've got Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. Really, really fun player. One of my favorite FCS prospects in the entire class, and we will talk about another one later on in this episode. But Slater's really interesting as well. I give him the slight nod. He's just an overall better athlete. 5.01 on the 40-yard dash. Really, really impressive time. 6'3", 320 pounds. Also with 33-inch arms. So better arm length than Kandra. Better overall athleticism. And you see that on tape. He is a very good athlete who's got more fluidity. He just moves better. The hips move a lot more consistently. He's able to connect more in the run game. Great at climbing into the second level. But once again, I really value what he can do in pass protection. Allowed just 3 pressures on 639 snaps this past season. 0 quarterback hits. 0 sacks. 88.2 pass blocking grade. He was really, really impressive for the Hornets. Great footwork and anchor. His lower body is exceptionally strong. He did 31 reps on the bench. He's just a really solid pass protector, and I think he's one of the better overall pass protecting offensive linemen in the draft class. Obviously, he's coming from FCS competition, which usually gets you knocked down a little bit. I'm not overly worried about that at the next level for him, but I do want to see him improve his technique. He has a bad tendency of lunging at times, which I just don't love to see. His hand placement is very sporadic and needs to get better, and he does need to be more disciplined in the run game. He does look out of control at times as a run blocker, but in pass protection, he's one of the better guards in this draft class, a guy that I really, really like. I think he's going to be a good NFL pro. I've got Jackson Slater as my number 9 interior prospect in the class. At number 8, it's been a my guy since the summer. I've moved him down a little bit, but I'm still a very big fan of Clay Webb. Went back and watched his tape just from this past season a little bit to get ready for this video. And once again, I see a lot of the same stuff that I saw on tape last year. I thought his season this year was a little bit worse. Didn't have the grades necessarily as high as you want. Only allowed 7 pressures, though, in pass protection. He is a guy, though, as different, very different than the other guys. The other guys are more powerful pass blocking type guys. Clay Webb is quite the opposite. He's a little bit undersized. He's 6'3", 310, 32 and 5/8 inch arms. So he's got shorter arms for the position, but he is a nasty run blocker, incredibly powerful, great athleticism to pull. Ran a 5.11 at the combine, really solid number for him. His hand placement, really impressive. He can control the rep early and often, knows how to maneuver his way as a pass protector as well. I think he's just super aggressive at the point of attack. Really impressive athlete, particularly when climbing to the second level. And I think a lot of people are going to look at Clay Webb and have the same concerns that you have with Jackson Slater. Well, he's coming from a small school, he can't get drafted highly. This is a former 5-star recruit that started his collegiate career at Georgia. The only reason he isn't still at Georgia, there were some off-the-field issues that stemmed back up from his high school career, but it seems like that is in his past. With all of that being said, his pass protection is going to need to improve. Graded with a 72.7 pass blocking grade this past season. His anchor, very up and down. He can be easily pushed back, particularly when going up against more powerful offensive linemen. I also think he tends to overextend in the run game at times. Needs to be a little bit more disciplined as a run blocker, but very good athlete, very productive player for the Gamecocks over the past couple of seasons, and a guy that has a very high recruiting pedigree. I know that doesn't mean much, but I think he's a really good player. I didn't think his tape in 2024 was as electric as his 2023 tape, but he's still a player that I would take early 4th round, maybe even the back end of the 3rd round. I think he's a very good prospect. I've got him at number 8. At number 7 in this class, I've got Miles Frazier out of LSU. Big shout out to my guy Dom C over on Twitter. If you guys aren't following him, be sure to do so. Puts out some of the best draft content out there. He is maybe the best pass protecting guard in the class, in my opinion, outside of maybe the number 1 guy on this list. But 88 pass blocking grade, just an absolute monster as a pass protector. Played 902 snaps, allowed 0 sacks this past season for the LSU Tigers. He's 6'5", 324 pounds. Elite size for the interior of the offensive line, but just the way that he's able to utilize his hands, utilize his frame to his advantage, win the rep with power, I love it. I think he's got the ideal frame for the NFL level, and he's got elite hand placement. I thought he was a very good pass protector, great solid footwork, good overall anchor for the position, and I love that. I do think another guy that is going to have some athleticism concerns. I think he's a good overall athlete, but ran a 5.24, doesn't necessarily have the greatest run blocking tape, takes some bad angles here and there. I think his run blocking tape is above average, graded at a 64.1. Not incredible, but I do think he's got good tape there. And his footwork, while it is good, and I like what he shows with his anchor 90% of the time, There are going to be plays where he is susceptible to getting beat with power, pushed off his balance a little bit, but he's a day 2 prospect to me without question. I think he's a phenomenal guard, a guy that's going to be an impact player in pass protection right away. And if you're a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, this is the perfect guy for your offense. I think he would be a home run pickup for them in the 3rd round. I've got Miles Frazier at number 7. At number 6 in this class, I'm not getting off this train. I have not seen any buzz about this player, really anywhere. He is, in my opinion, one of the best interior offensive line prospects in this class, and he is not getting the respect he deserves. That is Weston Franklin out of Georgia Tech. I probably am the biggest fan of this guy of any draft analyst out there. I see UDFA grades on this player. I don't see him in any mock drafts at all. I think he's like in the 300s on the consensus big board. It makes absolutely zero sense to me. This is a top 100 player in this class, and I don't really know what people think. Is he the greatest athlete in the world? No. He ran a 5.26. He's going to have to improve. 23-inch on the vertical, 8.3 on the broad. He's not super explosive. That's just not really his game. But man, I think he plays way faster and way more fluid than what his testing time is going to lead you to believe. Really explosive off the line of scrimmage, has light feet, but he's a great pass protector. I think he's incredibly strong, a guy that is able to win the rep at the very beginning, wins with his hands, powerful blocker that's just pancaking dudes left and right. Good footwork, good anchor for the position as well. He's 6'3", 318 pounds. I love his overall frame. And his athleticism at his pro day, not amazing. 23-inch vertical is not very good. He's going to need to improve at getting to the second level more consistently. That's going to be the biggest area of concern with him. He just had a lot of inconsistencies in the run blocking department. I think he's got potential there, but there were a lot of missed opportunities for him. Graded with a 63.7 run blocking grade, which is the worst of the 10 guys that we're going to be talking about. But he only allowed 12 pressures this past season, 1 sack on 898 snaps. You can't tell me that this can't be a good quality starting center in the NFL. He's got a very safe floor to me. He's going to be a good pass protector. I think he's a good overall run blocker. He's not elite, but he's not a liability as a run blocker. And I think he's got the ideal frame, the ideal build to be a starting center at the NFL level. This is a guy that's going to be in my top 100 players when it's all said and done. I am a massive fan of this player, and I've got him at number 6. At number 5 in the class, I'll say this, 5 through 3, put in any order that you want to put them in. I think it would be valid. I really do. At number 5, though, I've got Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. This is a second-round player to me. I think he 100% is going in the second round. He will probably be borderline top 50 for me. So there's a pretty big gap for me between Weston Franklin and Tate Ratledge. I think there's a big gap there because this is where the class starts to get really good. I think there are 5 elite interior prospects in this class, and it starts with Tate Ratledge, who's 6'6", 308 pounds, 10 3/8-inch hands, 79 3/4-inch wingspan, ran a 4.97 at the NFL Draft Combine with a 32-inch vertical, 9.5 on the broad jump, 7.38 3-cone. The reason he's not getting enough buzz is he only played 500 snaps this past season. He was awesome. Last year, I thought he was going to come out, ended up returning to school. A very impressive athlete that just gets to the second level with quickness, and he just bulldozes guys. One of the most powerful, nasty run blockers in this entire draft class. He's got phenomenal size, really good athleticism with strong hands for the position, and I think he's going to have to be a really good zone blocker because of his athleticism. I think he does tend to trip over his own feet. He looks out of control. He plays so fast at times that he does end up dealing with balance concerns. He only played 500 snaps. He's dealt with injuries throughout his career. And I think another area he can improve, he does play so out of control and ends up leading to missed blocks in the second level. But man, he is such a fun study. I loved his tape in 2023, 2024, and the limited snaps he got. He was still very productive, allowed just 7 pressures in 500 snaps. He's a very good football player, and he's going to come into the league in the second round, and I think he's going to start day 1 and be a very good starter at the NFL level. Big fan of Tate Ratledge. I've got him at number 5. Like I said, the next 3 guys are all on that same tier for me. Number 4 for me, that's going to be Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State. He's a guard at the next level. I know people think that he could play tackle because, well, he did play tackle this past season for Ohio State. After Josh Simmons went down, Donovan Jackson put on some really good tape, but as good of an athlete as Donovan Jackson is, I don't necessarily think he has the foot speed to be a great tackle at the next level. I think he's going to have to improve some areas there. But man, as a overall good guard, he might go in the first round because of his guard tape. Incredible lower body strength with good anchor, great athleticism to get to the second level, good size at 6'4", 315, 33.5-inch arms. I think his job of run blocking, very good anchor, and his numbers are going to be skewed. He allowed 19 pressures, 2 sacks. Remember, he was playing tackle, and he was going up against Abdul Carter in his first game. Didn't have the greatest game there, which it's to be expected. I do love what he does as a run blocker athletically, but he just is off a little bit. He seems to be a half step too slow too often, disengages a little bit early, again, as a run blocker, and leads to some tackles earlier than they should. But I think my biggest concern with Jackson, he'll make contact and then his feet will stop moving. He doesn't keep his feet churning till the end of the rep. That's why I have him at 4 below my number 3 guy. I still really like Jackson. I think there's a chance he could go in round 1, but I think he is probably an early day 2 prospect for me. I've got him at number 4. At number 3 in this class, we've got Jared Wilson, the other Georgia Bulldog. And yeah, I like Jared Wilson a little bit more. I liked Wilson's tape a lot this year, and then he just proved me right by running a 4.84, 32-inch vertical. He only started 1 year for Georgia. Ended up being the backup to Cedric Van Pran. Comes in this year, and his pass protection tape is genuinely the best of any prospect that we've talked about in this video, outside of maybe Miles Frazier. Footwork, remarkable. His hand placement is phenomenal. I think his ability to help on the inside, just do the little things, the chip blocking at the center position, really impressive. He plays with a very high motor, phenomenal athlete who ran a 4.84, as we mentioned, that's got power in the run game, that's got the athleticism to connect at the second level, and I just love his game. I do think the limited experience is a concern. Play strength is also an issue for him. He struggled at times against more powerful rushers. He does have the tendency to lunge a little bit, but he only allowed 6 pressures this past season for Georgia. In the SEC, allowing just 6 pressures in 1 season of play, very impressive. I think he is the best center prospect in this draft class, and he's a phenomenal player that is going to be in my top 50 when it's all said and done. I'm a huge fan of Jared Wilson, and I think he's going to be a day 1 starter at the center position. At number 2, I've got Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. I did not like his tackle tape. I really didn't. I thought that he was a guy that was just going to probably go mid to late day 2. But man, if you kick him inside, I am all the way bought in. 6'5", 316 pounds. Great size for the interior. That's got athleticism to move in space. Very consistent as a run blocker. Does all the little things. He's got, I believe, I want to say it's over 2,000. I know I'm undercutting it, but he's played a lot of football in his collegiate career for the Bison. Good hands as a pass protector, tons of experience, good run blocker, good overall athlete that has played quite literally all 5 positions along the offensive line. I do think he's going to have to improve his pass protection technique. He allows defenders to get into his chest a little bit too much. He is coming from an FCS level. I do want to see his footwork get a little bit better, but those are areas where I was more concerned about that at tackle. If you kick him inside to guard, I'm feeling a lot better about it, to be completely honest. I think he's probably a top 25 to 30 guy for me when it's all said and done. I'm a big fan of Gray Zabel, big fan of his game, and I've got him at number 2. But at number 1, I've got Tyler Booker. I know this is not the popular thing nowadays because he's a gap scheme blocker because of the athleticism, and I get it. but you can't teach the stuff that Tyler Booker has. He's 6'5", 321 pounds, 84.25-inch wingspan, 11 inches on his hands, had an 86.5 pass blocking grade, allowed 0 sacks this past season. Look, if you watch the tape, he's not a great run blocker. That's just not his game. He ran a 5.38, really bad time at his combine, but I think is the best pass protector in the class. I really do. And I know I've said that about a couple of other guys. Booker is the overall best. He's an absolute monster with an incredibly large frame that defenders just can't move. He's so strong in his lower half. He does play heavy on his feet, which in pass protection I think benefits him because he's just really hard to move. His anchor is phenomenal. I think his ability to pull in the run game and move across the line of scrimmage is actually better than people give it credit for. His hand placement's very good. Yes, he's not the most amazing run blocker in the world. And I do think he's probably going to be a little bit more scheme specific. But I think from a talent perspective, Booker's the best guy in this draft class. He's big, powerful, elite in pass protection. And I think he's a better run blocker than he gets credit for. So I've got Tyler Booker as my number 1 interior offensive lineman. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Who do you guys like in this class? Who do you think could be a good starting guard or center that I didn't mention in today's video? Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.